Hey, this is Boris. Welcome to Twin Cities Dual Power, podcasting from the south side of Minneapolis, Minnesota. Today, Monday, January 19th, 2026, I sat down with Ike, anarchist and labor activist, to talk about his experiences on the ground outside the ICE detention center at the Whipple building at Fort Snelling, and what he saw on Wednesday when the North Side community came out after the recent shooting, and the humiliating fate of Florida fascist Jake Lang. We also talked about what we should expect in the coming days and weeks. References to many of the things he mentions are in the show notes. Without further ado, here's the interview. Hey Ike, why don't you introduce yourself and tell us how you fit into this movement?
Hey, my name's Ike. I'm an anarchist living in Minneapolis, and I've been out in the streets almost every day for the last 50 days of the federal invasion here. In the early days, I participated a lot in a counter-surveillance program that the people here are running against ICE called Whipple Watch, where we camp out near the Bishop Henry Whipple Federal Building, which is serving as ICE headquarters, and take pictures of their license plates that can be blasted out to the rapid response groups in the neighborhoods. Since then, really since the surge of 2,000 agents that got sent here on January 5th and the subsequent murder of our sister Renee Good on January 7th, things have heated up a lot, and I've been out in many of the street confrontations against ICE and Border Patrol.
What have you been seeing up at Whipple?
Whipple is a fortress now. They've put concrete jersey barriers around the whole thing. They have 20-foot high fences that are new that have been put around it. And recently, after clashes that happened there, where they attacked protesters basically unprovoked, we've seen them collaborating with Hennepin County sheriffs. Last night, there were 16 sheriff vehicles out there blocking the street at 3 different checkpoints and only letting ICE vehicles go through.
This is despite state and city officials saying they're not going to be helping ICE with any of their operations.
That's right. Well, don't watch the light, watch the cars. Light ain't going to hit you, I can guarantee you they're still assisting with, at least with security for ICE. And I've seen them arrest at least 2 protesters already.
Would you say that they're arresting people who are harassing them or who are just observing and holding signs?
A lot of the times they're targeting people for standing in the street, but I've also seen them just tackle journalists. I got shot in the face with a pepper ball at point blank range. I've seen them shoot pepper balls and chemical weapons and flashbangs and tear gas, which we're told is really this stuff called HC gas that's more corrosive and carcinogenic. But we've seen them attack people unprovoked, and we've also seen them target people who are fighting back.
What do you make of this order from a judge saying, they can't target peaceful protesters?
I mean, like I said, I think they're going to keep doing what they're doing. They don't care much about legality. I saw a text from a legal observer at Whipple this morning, who said he was out there last night, and when he got up this morning, ICE was waiting for him outside his house, taking pictures of him, just as an intimidation tactic. So, they don't care. These guys are Nazis, and they're going to keep breaking the law. I mean, I hope a few years down the line, some people get a bunch of lawsuit money out of it. But
we can't expect the law to protect anybody right now.
Yeah, in the here and now, I think we just have to, protect each other as best we can and understand that it's a dangerous time and they're going to be using a lot of intimidation tactics. And, the best defense is a good offense, and we can't let them scare us.
Speaking of defending each other, you were in North last Wednesday during the raid where the man was shot. Could you tell us what happened up there, what you saw when you got there?
I wasn't there during the shooting. I was at work when it started, And my understanding is they shot a Venezuelan man through the front door of his own house. There's video of this happening and video of his wife yelling and crying about it from inside the house. And Homeland Security's statement is contradicted by the video and the facts. DHS claimed that this guy was being chased by an ICE agent, and then when he tried to apprehend him, 2 other people ran outside with a broom handle and a snow shovel and attacked him, which, as funny as that is, does not seem to have actually happened. The ICE agent claims he shot the man in the leg outside during a scuffle, but it seems clear he shot him through the storm door in front of his house, which is a major escalation on their part. Only 1 week after the murder of Renee, and the neighborhood rose up and fought back after that. I saw, I'm at work. Somebody sent me videos of federal agents shooting tear gas and flashbangs at people, and I left work early and hopped in my car and sped over there. And by the time I got there, it was about 10 o'clock. The feds were all gone. They had been chased off the streets, and MPD was holding a skirmish line at North Lindale and 24th, right at the scene of the shooting. And on the other side of the skirmish line, I saw some kids smashing up what I recognized as ICE vehicles. They were SUVs with all blacked out windows and out-of-state plates. So I doubled back and went around the block and went to where that was going on, and I saw, mostly black and brown youth, young people from that community were looting these ICE vehicles. And I mean, they were definitely ICE vehicles. People were rifling through, documents that disclosed some operational stuff. They had the names and addresses of these agents or names and phone numbers of these agent superiors. And they also had operational details, like you have to use a key card to enter gate 1 at Whipple, but not at gate 3, things like that. And I mean, that there were I saw ICE agents' face masks being pulled out of the car, and then I saw somebody else pull a window scraper, ice scraper, out of that car and run over to another ICE vehicle and start smashing out the side windows with that. People were letting off fireworks. I saw somebody throw a big firework into one of those cars when it went off inside. And while all this was going on, the skirmish line north of us, MPD started shooting more tear gas at us then and retreating down 24th Street. I guess retreating east, that would have been. And 24th Street filled up with so much tear gas that we couldn't see them anymore. And I went down to scout the perimeter, and when I saw it, I saw them leaving, and the cops pulled out and ceded the streets to the people for a while. And I went back to where the youth were smashing up the ICE cars, and it was kind of like a block party mood had set in. Somebody was blasting "I Don't Fuck With You," the song, on their stereo, and girls were dancing on top of the smashed up cars, and somebody was displaying a big Mexican flag and dancing around, and there was one lane of traffic open. We were blocking off one lane where the cars were, and the other lane people were driving by, and we got a very positive response from passing drivers who were yelling "fuck ICE" out of the window. And I understand somebody pried open a gun safe in the back of one of their cars and stole one of their AR-15s, which I think has been very embarrassing to ICE.
I would be surprised if that's not a crime.
Well,
as in for an ICE agent to leave an unattended weapon in a car where anybody could get to it.
Yeah, I mean, it's they're certainly having a bad day, I think.
Woof, that's a lot of paperwork.
I understand they raided the wrong house looking for it. Mm-hmm. Local police and sheriffs did. But, it was a real palpable turning point, man. It was the first, real proletarian resistance to this federal occupation that we've seen. Mm-hmm. I mean, my take on it is that they're targeting Minneapolis because, like, precisely because of our history and memory of resistance here, and the shadow of the George Floyd uprising of 2020 has kind of been cast over everything that's happened for the last 7 weeks.
Your description of the
50
Whipple...
days, really.
Yeah, your description of the Whipple made me think of what the precincts looked like all through 2020, 2021.
Oh, 100%. Yeah.
Barbed wire and Jersey barriers. And
I mean, there's really been very little violence at the Whipple except from their side shooting things at us, right?
Yeah.
And it's just sort of the specter of George Floyd that's haunting them, that's causing them to, fortify it and everything. And I think that, like, what am I saying? Like there have been little clashes with them. Like I've seen people attempt to unarrest before. I've seen agents get body checked. There was a clash before the huge federal incursion a couple weeks before during an ICE raid at the Brotex paper factory, where people chased them off. Somebody smashed one of the windows in their cars. So there's been like little sparks like that, but it didn't really catch until that man was shot on Wednesday night. And it made me very proud of Minneapolis. It made me proud to live here. I think that the kind of like North Side urban underclass put their stamp on the resistance in a way that, like, the rapid response groups, which are doing great work and like cataloging and monitoring and chasing ICE all over the city, but they're also like run by liberals and a lot of people that like come out of the No Kings protest or and a lot of people that have like never participated in activism before and are being like newly radicalized by the horrors that we're facing right now.
Right.
So I really feel like resistance wasn't going to come, or this kind of resistance wasn't going to come out of those 80 existing rapid response groups. It was,
had to come from...
It was going to come from the bottom strata of the class, and it really did. And, it was the first night since the invasion started that's really given me hope that we can fight our way out of this thing. Yeah.
Speaking of Minneapolis rising up, you participated in the protest against Jake Lang this past Saturday. Am I correct that you started over in the Cedar Riverside neighborhood where
so there was
Somali-led protection?
There was a call from this group of Somali organizers to blockade the bridge on Cedar Avenue that Jake Lang and his crew of Nazis were planning on marching across. Cedar Riverside is more commonly known as West Bank. They changed the name of the neighborhood. It's a big Somali community near the university on the Minneapolis side of the river. It's been targeted by fascists before. I understand in 2019 some other neo-Nazis tried to march through there, and they called it a march against Sharia law. Just because of the thriving Somali community there, it's there's a history of it being a target for the far right. And so about 120 anti-fascists came out ready to heed this call and blockade the bridge on Cedar Avenue to stop them from coming in. And I was impressed with it. I was impressed with our numbers. I was impressed with the discipline and kind of level of organization that we had. But when it became clear that Jake Lang wasn't going to march here, and he had been like routed from City Hall and
humiliated, honestly.
Humiliated, drenched in water from super soakers. Like, I understand somebody threw a piss balloon at him, and a lot of his crew retreated. I don't think more than 15 of them came out.
Yeah, I heard 12 or 10 or something.
Something like that. I saw a live stream of him saying to his buddy, "Where's the other group? Where's the other group?" Because they couldn't find them. But he was routed and he retreated back to his hotel at Hotel Indigo. So we hopped in our cars and went over there. I got inside the hotel, and I even talked to the hotel manager, who was very eager to have me leave, but promised me that they had already left. So the group that was, protesting at the hotel started roving the streets, marching and chanting. and we bumped right into them like a block north of City Hall. We saw like a little handful of people following Jake Lang and two of his buddies with their phones out, like cussing at them, and the crowd kind of swarmed around them and followed them into a nearby parking garage, and he got the shit beat out of him in the parking garage. I saw he was holding an American flag on a flagpole. Somebody grabbed his flagpole and started playing tug of war with him. Somebody else socked him in the face while this was happening, which, so then he let go of his flagpole and turned to fight that person, and then the guy that had the flagpole started bashing him over the back of the head with it, and I saw him bleeding from a head wound. He
posted on Twitter or somewhere about needing to get stitches on his head, and I hadn't heard a report of him getting hit, but it's...
I have no doubt he needed to get stitches on his head. He was... it was pretty funny, honestly, but by the end, he was just like so defeated. He threw up his hands and he was like, "You guys already got us," is what he said, which was
like it's a schoolyard contest.
Like it's a schoolyard contest, and not like he's a fucking
fascist coming here to
fascist racist piece of shit coming here
Somali people
to attack our Somali neighbors and brothers and sisters, and I think. We honored a long Twin Cities tradition of confronting fascists forcefully and beating them out of our streets, and I think that's good, and should happen more often whenever guys like him come here.
Couldn't agree more.
And I also saw he got on social media and was claiming that he was stabbed. I didn't see anything like that. I think it's bullshit. He never filed any police reports about it, which I think puts the lie to that. Mm-hmm. And he's, he was beaten with his own flagpole, but I don't think anybody pulled a knife on him. And there was one well-intentioned liberal guy who was trying to protect him the whole time and put himself in between the crowd and Jake, and people, people were annoyed by that, but nobody attacked the liberal guy. People just kind of, went around him to beat the Nazis.
Sure. Speaking of people coming to our town, there was a recent story that Donald Trump has called for an Alaskan airborne paratrooper unit of about 1,500 strong, I believe, to prepare to deploy to the Twin Cities. What do you think of that? And could you tell us a bit about a statement that's going to be published today?
Yeah, well, that's the 11th Airborne, formerly known as the U.S. Army Alaska. I think Trump said something on social media about how they have experience in Arctic warfare, which I think is very funny. Reading between the lines, I think it means these, They
know how to walk on a sidewalk with ice on it?
Yeah, they know how to walk on a sidewalk with ice on it, exactly. And then these corn-fed feds from Texas they're sending here to, can't handle the cold. But, I think that this has been kind of a shibboleth of the liberal rapid response groups in a lot of the peace policing we've seen since Renee's murder. People will say in an exact inversion of what Donald Trump posted. People will say violence is what they want. They think that Donald Trump is playing 8-dimensional chess, trying to goad people into fighting back so that he can send in the army. And first of all, he doesn't need a reason for a federal crackdown. We're in the middle of a federal crackdown. We're basically in the middle of martial law. Masked mercenaries are abducting and shooting people in the streets.
With no response from local law enforcement.
Yeah, with no response from local law enforcement. They're smashing the windows of observers who are following them. They're arresting people, citizen or not. And recently,
without warrants.
And recently, someone who was abducted from our streets died in a detainment facility in El Paso, Texas. So it's, the worst case scenario is here. I don't think the 11th Airborne being in the street is gonna, it'll change the situation, but I don't think it'll be worse than what's happening right now. And
if anything, the soldiers follow orders, unlike ICE.
Yeah, they're more predictable than these psychos, and I think that, the liberals have been talking about Trump invoking the Insurrection Act as if it's this magic game over button that the president can push and terminate the movement, and then you can't protest anymore. And this crew I'm in, Black Cat Workers Collective, is putting out a statement today about the possibility of the 11th Airborne coming here. And the gist of it is like, look, it's not going to end the movement if the army comes in. Historically, the army getting sent in is the sign of a weak state, not a strong one. It's a sign that the regime is desperate. It's a sign that the regime can be defeated. I mean, there's like 6 new wars starting. They're going to invade, Greenland, in addition to Venezuela now.
Yep.
And
hey, Taiwan right after.
Yeah, and so the empire is going to be stretched thin, fighting in all these other fronts. But, if you think about historically all the times that states have sent in the army domestically to suppress protesters, this has usually backfired on them and caused the movement to grow. I mean, this was true here in the States for the Newark and Detroit and Watts uprisings in the 60s. It was true in Ireland, Bloody Sunday. It was true in South Africa. It was true in Serbia and the movement against Slobodan Milosevic. And it was true in the Egyptian Revolution in 2011, right up until the army switched sides and turned on Mubarak, right? Mm-hmm. So I think that we're trying to popularize the idea that, like, yeah, the army coming here might be scary, but it's not the end of the road. Like, we're going to respond to it exactly the same way we responded to the ICE invasion. We're going to organize our communities. We're going to continue to build these rapid response networks. We're going to try to more quickly and agilely respond to the scene of abductions, and we're going to organize mass protests in response to them, and mass direct actions to shut down their infrastructure at Whipple, be it at Whipple or at the airport or anywhere else. I think that this is the point of the statement that's going to come out is that the power of our resistance movement is not military, and it can't be defeated by military means. Right. The force of the resistance is social, and it lies in our social solidarity with our neighbors, and the fact that this is our fucking city, and we live here, and we have support of the entire population against these assholes.
Yeah. It makes me think that about 2020 when Waltz did call out the National Guard. The National Guard, if anything, had more an effect of stopping the police doing their most heinous things.
I was at
times, and the army showing up might have a similar effect. Although who knows what Donald Trump might be willing to order them to do? But at the same time, who knows what those soldiers are going to be willing to do. So.
I mean, I think it's possible there's some kind of incident where, enlisted soldiers fire on a crowd and kill people. Mm-hmm. And I don't wish for that, but I think I think our people will rise to the occasion if that happens, and come out and resist heroically the way we've been resisting these last 2 shootings and the last murder that happened, But I agree with you that, realistically, I think the committed fascists in ICE and Customs and Border Patrol are the real danger here, and they'll continue to be the real danger. I mean, I was in Baltimore in 2015 during the Freddie Gray uprising, and I saw the same thing where the National Guard were mostly posted up downtown to guard tourist attractions like the Ram's Head Live and the aquarium and the Galleria Mall, and the people that really carrying out the most heinous acts of brutality were local police. They were the same police we were protesting against in the first place. So
the ones with the Nazi tattoos and
So I don't think we should I don't think that the Insurrection Act is the end of the line. I think the 11th Airborne might come here, and it'll change the landscape and the terrain of organizing and protest that we're on.
But But that's nothing
But
we can't adapt to.
we can fucking take it. We've done it before. We'll do it again.
Yeah. What do you think is the most important thing that our listeners should be doing right now?
I think if you're in Minnesota, you should join one of these rapid response groups. Find a way to go out and patrol, connect with your neighbors. There are probably hundreds of these signal chats at this point. At one point, I counted 81 of them, and I know there are more now. So I would try to plug into one of these. If you can't plug into one of these, like, show up at the Whipple building, talk to the protesters there. Somebody will get you plugged in. And if you live outside of Minnesota, I think you should be organizing protests in solidarity with us. The things that are happening here are the things that will happen everywhere in the U.S. next. This really is like a blueprint and a testing ground, and it's precisely because of our history and memory of resistance that they wanted to come here and crush us first. Well, on the heels of Los Angeles and Chicago, but they're going after hotspots they know will fight back, because if the Twin Cities fall, then everywhere will, and they know it. And I think so we are organizing 5 of the unions: SEIU 26, MFE 59, St. Paul Federation of Educators, the American Transit Union, Amalgamated Transit Union 1005, and Unite Here Local 17 are all endorsing this call for a general strike across Minnesota on January 23rd, this Friday. I think similar things need to be replicated in other cities. I think if you're a member of a union, you should put forward a resolution for, maybe you can't call it a strike because that'll make the lawyers squeamish, but they're calling for a 1-day pause in economic activity to call for ICE to leave the city. And I think that can be replicated somewhere else. I think if you're in a union, you and your coworkers should get together and push for resolutions to do this. If you're not in a union, you can still do this kind of organizing. Like all the Mexican restaurants up and down Lake Street have signs in the window now saying they'll be closed on Friday the 23rd, and so I'm really feeling like echoes of the kind of energy we saw in the Day Without an Immigrant protests in 2006, when 3 million people walked off the job to protest the Sensenbrenner Act. Mm-hmm. And the past didn't go anywhere. It's still there in a lot of people's memories, and I think we did it 20 years ago, and we can do it again.
What would you like to see come out of this movement of resistance, both in the next few weeks and months and in the long term?
In the short-term goal, I think we need to defeat ICE materially and politically. I think we need to oust them from our streets. I think they need to leave here with their Title VIII mission, like Greg Bovino keeps saying, having failed. This is possible. They left North Carolina with only a fraction of the abductees they wanted to get because of the intense resistance they encountered there. But all eyes are on us now, and I think we need to show the world that ICE can be defeated, and show the next city they occupy that they're a formidable opponent, but you don't have to be afraid of them. They're not invincible. They're a special body of armed men like every other repressive force is. Mm-hmm. And if the whole society rises up to take them on, you can take them. And so I'd like them to leave with their tail between their legs, having been humiliated. Mm-hmm. And I hope that the movement we're building here can go beyond just anti-fascism and resisting backsliding into authoritarianism. I think we need to gain ground as a revolutionary movement against capitalism. Mm-hmm. And I think, for people that have that kind of orientation, dialectically speaking, right, this is a dark time, but in a certain way, the future has never been brighter also.
Potential in conflict.
Yeah.
Potential in disaster.
Yeah.
Ike, thanks so much for your time. This is a great conversation. I hope to talk to you again soon.
Thank you, Boris.